Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for our Maker Monday, January. We were doing watercolor note cards. As I was getting ready to do this project, I referred to quite a few YouTube websites, and after I did that, I realized they can teach you much better than I can. So in your kit, I'm just going to go over what you have and then some tips that I learned from watching quite a few videos. So in your kit, you will have this sheet of paper. These 3 bullet points are the links that I highly recommend going to do your watercolor note cards. They have a great tutorial on how to make flowers, how to make a Mother's Day card or a thank you card, things like that. Any one of these would be great. All 3 of them are fantastic. So in your kit, this tells you where to go to get it. Obviously, have a great time. Don't feel pressured about how it turns out. The most important thing I learned with working with the watercolors and the videos I watched was to not overthink and don't overwork your watercolors. So to get started, you want to be prepared before you get to these links. In your kit, you have your watercolor. Now, this is my daughter's, and it's actually quite bigger, but you have one with the primary colors in it. It should have 8 colors. And they suggest that, let's see if I can open this. When you're doing your watercolors, your lid is where you're going to work your colors. So you have a brush, you have your container for clean water, you get your watercolor wet and bring it over here. This is primarily the side you're going to be working from when you choose what colors you want to use. You don't get this side super wet. It's this side, and then when you're finished, you can actually just dot it with a paper towel, clean it, and it keeps your watercolors nice and clean and dry. So another recommendation is to have the paper towel here for 2 reasons. One, to clean up afterwards, and second, to dab your brush up. After you use your clean water, dab your brush, mix your paint, and you're going to clean again, dry it off. Some of the flowers that you'll be watching on the videos suggest excuse me, taking a dry brush. So if you have another brush at home, leave that to the side. And when they recommend patting your watercolors with a dry brush, you'll have that handy. If not, it's not a big deal. You can dry your brush off on your paper towel and soak up some of the water off the paper. So there's your watercolors. This is your work surface. Keep this side kind of dry and clean. Paper towel to soak up your water after you clean it each time with your brush, and afterwards cleaning up your work side. So there's that. Now in your kits, I have given you different note cards. So I also gave you each practice sheets. So you have 3 pieces of paper for practice sheet. So while you're watching those tutorials, before you use your watercolor paper, you can practice on the plain drawing paper. So there's that. I apologize for my hideous fingernail polish, but so here's the plain paper. The watercolor paper is going to be your thicker, more like a cardstock feel, and has a little bit of a textured ridge to it. That's your watercolor paper. This is going to soak the water in and a little bit nicer and better than the paper, but at least you have something to practice on. And then you have 3 watercolor note cards. When you do them, in the instructions you watch, it will tell you to paint your watercolor on a surface, let it dry, and then if you want to adhere it, you can glue it to the yellow, orange, or green and stick it between a book so that it stays flat and hard, because sometimes the watercolor people will want to curl. So glue it, stick it in a book, and then you'll have your nice little watercolor note card. You can write on the back, and then you have an envelope to share it in. So we've given you each 3 colors, each 3 watercolor pieces of card paper, your practice paper, you have your watercolors, your brush. The other thing they recommend is a fine tip marker. So these are just Sharpies. I know that the dollar store sells black Sharpie fine print, and you really want the fine tip. This, let's see if it can focus here, is not the broad tip. It's really the extra fine tip. I believe it says on here, permanent marker, ultra camera's not wanting to focus here, but it says ultra fine tip on here. So that's what you want to use this there. Oh, there you go. This really fine tip for Sharpie marker. So have fun. You'll want some glue to glue these on. And like I said, a dry brush if you have an extra paintbrush in the house. And when you're finished, share your work. We'd love to see your note cards when you're done. Post it to our Facebook page, or you can email them directly to me at cbergoply@gmail.com. Have a great time, guys. Look forward to next month's Maker Monday, and our newsletter will be out with our February activities real soon. Have a great day.